Hello, I'm Sifu Mike. I want to thank you for taking the time to look at this little video on my book, The Compassionate Touch of Reiki, Healing Concepts, Elements, and Methods. So thank you very much for your time and your interest. This book is it's meant to be a comprehensive textbook and guidebook for Reiki students and Reiki teachers of all styles. Now, I introduce and give an overview of the traditional art of Usui Reiki Ryoho. The founder's name was Usui, and Usui Reiki Ryoho just means Usui's Reiki healing method and art, which is unique to him. And now, of course, there's many different lineages and arts which have evolved from his original arts and that of his successors. So that was my first book, The 7 Jewels of Reiki, where I introduced the art and give an overview of the main elements. Now, this book, The Compassionate Touch of Reiki, Healing Concepts, Elements, and Methods, goes into much more depth and detail on the proper practice of Reiki for oneself and for others, okay? In great detail. Now, if we just look at some of the chapters here, okay? Bear with me one second. So you're going to see chapter 1, where I'm getting into the concepts, what I call concepts of applied Reiki healing. So these are important concepts, principles, and guidelines. You could even call them laws, like things that are really very important and essential for the proper practice of Reiki healing for oneself and others. Things like compassion. Compassion is the central force of all Reiki healing. And you could say re-educating our ego, okay? So I go into it in great depth in the book. So you can look at that. Chapter 2, and many other concepts, of course, and important principles. Just mention a couple there. Chapter 2, the elements of Reiki healing. So this is like, okay, what's involved when I'm going to practice Reiki meditation or healing for myself, for others, okay? What actually is involved in that, broken down into a format with diagrams where one can, contemplate these things, and then, we can work at our skills with them, okay? So these are things like cleansing and preparing the channel. We're the channel for the Reiki energy, and there are methods and procedures for keeping ourselves to be a clean and strong channel for the energy. Okay, so I get into that. Then there's also here the generation and projection of Reiki energy. Generation and projection of the Reiki energy, which with Usui's art is very natural. But still, I discuss, again, how this works and what are some important points to keep in mind so that we are a good, clean, strong channel and we're able to be a powerful channel to help ourselves and others for the Reiki healing energy, okay? Then we continue, chapter 3, kind of continues the elements and bridges the gap to the actual practice methods. And so chapter 3 is devoted to what's usually called in English the Reiki symbols, and the names of the symbols or the mantra, okay? In Japanese, it's called Juman, or again, like the mantra, and Shirushi, which means like a visual symbol. So what I'm talking about is, if we see these big golden arches, right? That's a symbol for, we know it, the Burger Masters, right? The swoosh, right? Nike, right? In spiritual and meditative arts, there's the symbol for Om, right? And again, depending on the language, it's going to be written in a different way. And the mantra for Om, of course, is Om, right? So in Reiki, we have symbols and mantra as well. Some of them are shamanic symbols, okay? It's not really like a written language like calligraphy or writing English. Shamanic symbols. Some are actually sacred script, or you could say holy writing. There's calligraphy and letters, again, like Om is a letter from the Sanskrit alphabet, and it's a sacred mantra, which actually many Reiki people also use as a non-traditional Reiki symbol. And I talk all about that as well, the traditional Reiki symbols and mantra, and nowadays there's many non-traditional ones, and the meaning for that and how that works, okay? So I get into that, a whole chapter on that. Then there's chapters on, chapter 4 is the butterfly Reiki, Usui Reiki Ryoho. My Reiki system is butterfly Reiki system. So these are methods that I use in my system that anyone else could use. Reikiko, or like Reiki, Qigong, and meditation. Now that's one of the 7 jewels of Reiki, the 7 core areas that has not been transmitted so much in the Western world. You know, Reiki meditation, Reiki Qigong, a little bit. There are some teachers that do this. I myself have a background of close to 40 years in Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, spiritual yoga arts, all sorts of Reiki arts, including some very rare ones from Burma, Tibet, Japan, okay? As well as, again, all different sorts of Reiki arts from Usui's lineage, beginning originally with where I live in the Northeast USA. The first Reiki teacher here was John Harvey Gray, who was one of Reverend Takada's original disciples, the people that brought Reiki from Japan to Hawaii and then to mainland USA and Canada and then really all over the world. So originally I came in my Reiki arts through that lineage, and then many other Reiki teachers. Again, some of very kind of rare, exotic methods of Reiki. So that's chapter 4, all different Reikiko methods, which again, this was traditional. Remember, this originally was a Japanese art. Okay, now we don't have to be experts of Reiki, Qigong, or anything. Even a little practice is very helpful. And again, I go over all that in the book. And then the last chapter is the Reiki healing methods themselves for self and others. So the most well-known one, of course, is using Reiki healing hands on ourselves and others. But there's many other methods, okay, and ways of working with Reiki, which again, in the book here, I get into in great depth and detail. All right, so that's a little overview of this book, The Compassionate Touch of Reiki, Healing Concepts, Elements, and Methods. It builds on the information introduced in my first book, The 7 Jewels of Reiki. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime.